Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 17, and welcome back to Thornbrook V2. So I guess welcome to Thornbrook for the first time, because it is a new map, and I was not able to bring my profile in. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So we only had a few hours on Thornbrook V1, and this is now on the Giants mod hub. It was on FS UK, and now it's on the mod hub. So if you want to check it out, it's a really cool map. I'm just getting to know it. I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but so far so good. And as you know, we are going class equipment. As we're going to close out FS17, I thought we would use the one brand that I really like that we haven't used before. And we got different equipment. When I came back in on V2, I tried to, as much as possible, recreate what we had from V1. But you know what? It doesn't always work that way. This game is very interpretive. It's very creative, I guess. You know, so I could remember what I got first time around, but second time around, it's like, I want something different. So one thing we did not have is we did not have a small tractor. So we have an 800, a 900, a 3800, and a Zarian, as we did before. We have a Scorpion. One thing we did not have is a 600. So this is an Arian, which is equivalent to a 600 series, more or less. So yeah, man. Let's drive over to the other side of the map. We got 3 workers going. And, wow, this thing's kind of loud. We got 3 workers going. I did find another mod called, it's like real implement RPM or something. And basically what it does is if you are using Gearbox and you don't have your foot on the throttle, you have to be in neutral and you have to have your foot on the throttle. When you move an implement and it pulls power off the engine, it slows the engine down. So if you have a wheel set up and you can keep your foot on the gas, you can bump the RPMs back up and the tool will move at regular speed. If you don't have a throttle, or if Gearbox is configured like I'm using a gamepad, and you can't get into neutral and goose the throttle a little bit, then the tool will move fairly slowly because the engine is not making enough power for it. Oh, that doesn't work. I thought let's hop in cab so we can see around all these trees. So, what can I tell you is going on? Well, I can tell you I love this map. I really, really do. Lancyboi, fine work. I will tell you that there seems to be an FPS hotspot right around fields 8, 9, and 10. And that's, it's not a deal breaker by any means. I still love the map. But there is for sure a hot spot, and I see a big dip. I'll dip from 50 down to like 20. So, it's been that way ever since going back to Goldcrest. I remember on Goldcrest at the main farm, if you looked in one direction, it was just like getting kicked in the face FPS-wise. And that's just part of the game. I know nobody wants that, but it just works out that way sometimes. And it's really tricky because, everyone has different systems. And I've been on threads where, somebody's talking about, they have some crazy like liquid-cooled 1080 system and 32 gig of RAM, and they're getting these drops in FPS. And one of the responses is, well, shoot, son, turn your settings down, and you'll have FPS for days. And then the response is, well, I didn't build a system like this to run on reduced graphics settings. And I get that, but then other people in the thread are like, man, I'm on an old AMD card. I can barely make 20 FPS on a good day. Cool your boots. And when I think about developing a game, it's like you don't necessarily want to potato a game so that it can play on anybody's graphics card. That's not going to push development of gaming to be what it can be, right? And at the same time, you don't necessarily want to make a game that only weaponized gaming systems can play, because that pushes a lot of people out and it sort of turns people off to your game. Like, come on, man, that's not cool. Don't, you know what I mean? It's like building a lane on the freeway, but only cars that can go 150 miles an hour can use it. It's like, well, that's super cool if you're one of those people, but most people aren't. What about the rest of us? So I'm right in the middle. I have a decent system, but it's by no means a weapon, but I do all right. Let me pull in here. Oh, carefully. Let me pull in here. And this is field 12, I want to say. Yep, sure is. Let me pull in here, and I'll very quickly explain to you what is going on and what we have as far as equipment that is different than our first go-round. Yeah, see how slow that tool is moving? If I could bring some throttle in, it would speed it up a little bit. Right, so engine off, lights, wow, lights off. Okay. So, field 12, what is going on in field 12? And also, I am still reconfiguring, all my input bindings, and they are, at the moment, busted. So what we don't have is the run trigger. So everywhere we need to go until I get that one programmed in is we're going to be walking, like we're walking right now. Just walking slow. And I'll tell you, man, it's zen. Just walking is zen, you know. So you remember we had that Zarian, and I was like, it's got this big platform on the back. It's got this big deck. Surely we don't want to just use this thing as a tractor. Well, holy Jesus, peep that. So we got, this is the tractor is made by Smetty. And that tank on the back is also, I believe, made by Smetty. I hope I'm saying his name right. Smeedy? I don't know. And then it uses the base game. Oh, is that the Zuna disc? So, man, I don't even know where to start. The fields on this map are a lot bigger than they appear on the mini-map. Lancyboi is, he's very good at making maps that play small, even though they are quite big. This is a big map with big fields. So normally I would plow all my fields and then maybe throw another layer of fert and then cultivate them, or if we have a direct drill and they don't need to be cultivated after plowing, you know what I mean. So I had to cultivate this one first because we've got to get things moving. Our fields are too big and our equipment is, like, this is a 6 meter, our plow is a 4 meter. Ugh, it's another kick in the face. So, but this is a cool mod, and it is injecting slurry and cultivating in one pass. It doesn't have a ton of tank capacity. Now, I will tell you something else. You probably noticed when we pulled in this thing, right? This thing cannot fill. I got my, like I always do, I got my placeable slurry trigger, and I put it down near the cow shed. So until we have plenty of slurry from the cows, we're going to be buying it from that. It's sort of cheating, but, you know, sort of not cheating. Where'd you go? I mean, if you really want to cheat, you just go into the XML file and put 500,000 liters of slurry in your slurry pond before you have any cows. That would be cheating. So I took this thing over there to fill it, and I couldn't. It just absolutely would not fill. It uses the hose system, so we had to get this thing, and it's about half full right now, but there's a hose from the hose system, and when this thing runs dry, we'll bring it up here and fill it from the hose. There's no other way to fill it. I will tell you also, I'm always reluctant to say that a mod is bugged out or that there's a problem with a mod. I feel like that's very disrespectful to mod makers, because it's not like they just slap these things together, right? We're trying to catch this thing walking because we can't run. So this is obviously not slapped together, not the tractor and not the tank. And yet, it's kind of bugged out. It really is. If you save game and come back in, it's got like an invisible collision, and it'll just keep bumping and snagging. So what I found is, as a workaround, before I save game, just detach everything, you know, separate them, leave them all in a row, and then when you come back into the game, just hook it up again, and that seems to take care of that problem. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the mod. It's potentially a mod conflict in my folder, but if you have that problem, that's the way to get rid of it, is to take the tank off before you save game. Right, that's the first thing that's going on. Second thing, oh, course play, you're doing it, aren't you? No, you're not. Okay. We've also got our hard manure spreader going. Now, what I just said right there, course play, you're doing it again. I needed to get everything brought back up to where we were, so what we had done in the previous 2 episodes is we had spread muck and started to plow a field. I needed to get caught up, and I'm just putting everything on course play until we get caught up. I figure, you know, I'm going to call it even because we had to start over. But I was doing things for like 30 minutes, and I realized that field wasn't done yet, and it was only supposed to take about 10 minutes for the manure spreader. So I go over and take a look, and course play, sure enough, is just driving in circles. and had been driving in circles apparently the whole time. Like I said, "Are you ready to go to work?" And Courseplay was like, "Yes, I absolutely am." And I was like, "Cool." And I turned my back and it just started driving in circles. Didn't do anything. Had not spread any muck. So that's what I meant right there. But it does seem to be working. It does seem to be working. Now, in fairness, I do have this on the buy manure option, so it's not using right now. If you look up in Glance up there, that is our, it's the second one down, the 900 series, and it's at 92% and not dropping. I do have it set to buy. I just need to get these fields done. So that is the second thing that is going on. And like I said, when the slurry spreader and cultivator runs out, I'll run back over there and fill it, put it back on the worker. And wow, walking is, oh man, it is slow. It's raining. I feel like the map is significantly darker weather-wise than it was before. I know it's darker when it's cloudy, but I feel like the map itself, we are using is it the Nuent? It's a specific patch for Seasons mod that Lancyboi recommends. We are using that. It is activated. So we're using the weather patch that he recommends. Like, check it right here. We're at 20 FPS when we're looking toward the farm. So, Lancyboi, my man, nothing but love for you, but I think there may be a bit of a hot spot for V2.1. What else is going on? I've got the Scorpion again. That's parked up here. We got our same, I just say Broen. We got our same Broen tipper full of manure, and I'll use this probably off camera because I'll have to load it manually with the Scorpion, and I am kind of slow on the front loader tools and telehandler tools. And this is an 800. We just swapped colors. Before, our 800 was green and our 900 was black. We swapped them. Those are both by Smetty as well. The 800 and the 900 and the Zarian, all by Smetty. And then down here somewhere, like on the far side of the world, wow, walking is slow, is the 3800. And it's got our Kverneland, just a traditional plow. I know that's not a chisel plow, is it? I know there's a specific name for that type of plow, and it's just what I think of like as an old school offset, you know what I mean? You'll see when we get to it. It's the same Kverneland we were using before. This is on Courseplay as well, and Courseplay is love-hate, you know that. Courseplay gets some things really, really, really smart. And one thing it can do is when you're using an offset plow like this, it will offset the row, right? So this is offset because that plow is out to one side. The wheel is on the correct side. And check this out. Oh, of course it's a long row. But that's okay. We'll get there in a second. This is when Courseplay makes me really smile because there are times when Courseplay is just super, super awesome. And this is one thing that it does. If you can get it set up right, this is one thing that it does. Check it. It flips the plow, and then it's going to offset to the other side. So basically, when it starts this row, it's going to offset again so that everything lines up, and it's flipped the plow to keep the wheel on the correct side, which is just one of those details. You know what I mean? Just one of those details that really, like, I feel so immersed right now. I love it. I love it. And this weather, I have to say, it's pretty immersive as well. Right, off you go. This is going to take, well, it's going to take a while. I have a feeling after I'm done recording, I may just let this game keep playing by itself while I go do other things. So, what else? Oh, there's one other thing that I want to show you. We're just about out of slurry, but that'll stop when it's done. I hope it stops. I hope it stops. Because it has a cultivator on it, it may not. Okay, I'm watching the meter up there. 2%, 1%. You know what I mean? It should stop when it runs dry, but it may not. And let me see. Just about. If it stops, then we can... Yes, they did stop. Okay, cool. So I'll show you this one other thing that I want to show you. Then we'll go grab that Zarian. We'll take it up to the tanker. We'll refill it. We'll put it back on course play. And I don't know, man. I don't just want to be done. That's kind of a short episode. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. This is the other thing we got. And yeah, really a hot spot right here. We're really tanking on FPS. We got a Ford Transport Rigid. And this is from, I'll tell you exactly what it's from. This is from the Farm Centro Sul pack. Check this, man. Totally inappropriate for this map. But I'm a Ford fan, always have been. And yeah, man, it's a really, really cool pack. There's 2 of them. There's another one made by the same folks that has some overlap. But yeah, very unusual trucks. Volkswagen, Volvo, and Ford. Not trucks that you see in Farm Sim very often. So we got this, and I guess this is going to be our main tipper for grains. It has to be now because I think we paid about 400,000 euro for it, 400,000 pounds. So let's get over to Monica and get her refilled, and then we should be coming up by that time on about 20 minutes. You want to do a 20-minute episode? I mean, there's not really a lot going on at the moment. We just have a lot of workers kind of working on their own. I really wish I could run. I do. I'd run for you if I could. Yeah, but you know what? We'll just stroll. And in fact, maybe this will work out because I was told by a friend of mine, he's like, man, you got to talk about yourself more because you are, man, the things that happen to me. Like I have a super, super interesting life. And I have the kind of life where the things that happen to me they're always cool afterwards, but at the time it's like, not cool. So one thing I can tell you is Hurricane Michael is coming in. It's going to hit Florida. It's going to come across the Panhandle. That is not going to be good. It's a 4 now, and it may be a 5 when it makes landfall. And that is not something that happens very often. That is a big, big effing deal because even buildings in places that are built to resist hurricanes, they're not built to resist 5s. You know what I mean? It's like earthquake-resistant buildings in areas that are earthquake-prone. You can make buildings that are designed to survive a 7, but nobody's building buildings designed to survive like a magnitude 9 earthquake. It would be just a flat concrete bunker, and even then, no guarantees. So it's really going to be bad down there if that comes ashore as a 5. And like we did with Florence, take a few minutes to do some research and find a reputable charity or organization that you trust. And okay, we fix. So I'm going to set this right now so we don't lose anything. Okay, brakes off. And let's get up here. So yeah, if you are of a mind, send some love to those folks in a tangible way. Thoughts and prayers are great, but they need like food and stuff. And if they don't this afternoon, they will by tomorrow. It's going to be bad. So that is not a disclaimer, but I wanted to say that before I say this, which is the track for that storm is set to come right across the city that I'm in again. Now, it'll just be a bad thunderstorm by the time it gets that far inland, but not joking, like it's going to come up North Carolina and cross right over the city where I am again. And that's the kind of stuff that happens to me. And I'm not appropriating anybody else's drama or misery or pretending that is like, super bad news for me. It won't be that big a deal. But at the same time, it's like, really? I'm going to get hit by 2 hurricanes a month apart. Okay. And that's just the kind of stuff that happens to me. So I told you I'm at this Airbnb out in the woods. And it's nice. It's a little bit isolated, but it's nice. And it's got this massive loft with 2 electric desks. Like you can make them stand up. You can make them go up and down with the little thing on the side. Super cool. Plenty of room. So it gets a little bit hot in the daytime because obviously all the AC, all the cool air comes down here and all the hot air goes up to the peak of the roof. But you know what? It's very nice. It's super, super nice. So I haven't met the host yet at this here Airbnb. You know what? I'm in the middle of a story. So let's grab this thing, go refill it, and then I'll finish telling you what's going on, because it's funny. Oh, mini game. There we go. Oh, we got this too. I guess I just glossed right over this. We got this farm truck, and this is from the Wood Transport Vehicles pack, which is, I mean, obviously, right? But it's just got a modified man truck. You say man, you say M-A-N. So, get this thing fired up. Lights on for safety. I'm just going to leave the Zarian there for a minute because we'll be right back. Try to drive around what's been cultivated. So it says in the ad for this place, it clearly says, oh, you know what? Ah, check my stop. I'm going to drive and find the and find that 900, because I have a feeling it says it's spraying, it says it's moving. I don't believe it. I want to see with my own eyes because I feel like it's going in a circle. Or this is just a really big field. Okay, so I'm up in the loft, I'm working. Now I got my rig set up, I got my gaming rig set up. And I brought it out here because I have all that space. It's the only reason I brought it, is because I have all that space. Because it's a big rig. It's portable, but it's big. It's 2 laptops. One is utility, one is gaming. It's a giant monitor, right? 2 keyboards, a big gaming keyboard and a side panel gaming keyboard. My flight stick, my wheel, right? And everything is, you know, I got power strips. You know how a rig works when you get it all put together. Oh, and it turns out he's not stopped. Okay, okay. You know what? I'm glad we checked, because I would hate to find that thing just turning in circles the way it does. Right. So I haven't met the host yet. I've been here 8 days, 9 days. I haven't met the host yet. Here comes the host. And I knew he was coming by, right? And I'm up in the loft working. Check this out. Look at the interior on this truck. Oh, but look at that stutter. Oh, hot spot. Nope. Gotta go third person. Can't go level with a hot spot. So I'm up in the loft working. Now, I really hope my limiter is working right now, because I gotta do a loud voice. But the loud voice is important because it sort of sets the tone for everything that comes after. I'm up in the loft working, and this is what I hear. You ready? William, come down. And there are so many things wrong with that, like from the jump. First off, I'm paying this person, which means I'm the customer, which means they work for me. But even if we were just 2 strangers meeting for the first time on like neutral whatever, don't lead with that. Man, that is messed up. That is really messed up. And it didn't sit well with me. What he needed to say was, and I won't use his name, but what he needed to say was, hey, William, are you up there? Are you busy? Do you have a minute? Am I interrupting you? And then I say, no, not at all. And he says, can you come down for a minute so we can introduce ourselves, or would you like me to come up? Or whatever. Like civilized people, like nice people. William, come down. It's not even rude. It's how you talk to somebody that works for you. It just blew my mind. And I'm not really a people person to begin with. And I'm not, how do I want to say this? I'm constantly told that I'm intimidating. And I'm tall and kind of wide, shaved head, face like a skull. And I'm super, super sweet. I'm like the nicest person. But I have a look, I'm told. I have a demeanor. Like, I'm really not inviting interaction. So I have the latitude of being kind of an a-hole, if that makes sense. But I don't lead with that, right? Like, I always try to start neutral, and I let people start the the conversation the way they want to. Come on. Come on. I also don't have a Gearbox configured yet. Oh, so it's going to take us a couple cycles to get through here, and it doesn't want to downshift. Come on. There we go. So I guess what I'm saying is I have the background and I have the appearance and I have the demeanor to kind of sort things like that out. I'm saying I don't, like, if someone offends me or hurts my feelings, I don't need to start a fight, but I also don't need to internalize that. I'm sort of lucky in that way, that I don't, I don't know how else to say it. I really don't have to take any crap from anyone, and I like that. So what I said was, hey, please don't speak to me that way. And it's one of those things that I don't know if you've experienced this in life. It's hilarious when you do. Somebody will do something which is inappropriate, but because it's the sort of thing that people do all the time, it's okay. Because it's like it's familiar, you know what I mean? It's something that people expect, even though it's effed up. But what people don't expect is something like that. Like, people are rude to each other all the time. But you don't hear responses like that very often, and I know this because I'm a student of people. You know that. I study people. I love people. They fascinate me. So that was my response. Please don't talk to me that way. And we were sort of off to the races at that point. So I did come downstairs, and again, doesn't introduce himself. No, uh-oh. Oh, game. Oh, game. Okay, let me see how we can get out of this. Let's save first. And we can't move. And we can't, let's try this. Let's try this. This is probably going to crash the game. If it does, I will just, I'll just restart. So let's, no, nothing. Okay. Ah. Yes. Give it. No, not give it. We're caught in the hose is what happened. I've got hose in different area codes. Oh man, I was just getting to the good part. How do we want to do this? Ah. Okay. All right. Okay. Continuing. So he doesn't introduce himself, and we're just kind of off to the races. Press left to attach. There we go. And he says, and I don't need to keep doing the voice, but he's not from around here, which I don't have a problem with. I really don't. Doesn't bother me at all. People are from where they're from. Are we running here? Start it up so we can power the pump. There we go. He's not from around here. And he's telling me, loft is off limits, that's my private place. And I'm like, no, that's not what your listing says. The specific reason I took the property, I took the Airbnb, was that it said there was a loft with a great view where I could work. And he just keeps saying, no, that's my private space. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that's how you feel, but that's not what the ad says. And he didn't get it. And he just kept saying over and over, that's my private space, that's off limits. And I'm like, but we're going back to, like, this is basic contract law. Like, you know what I mean? If you accidentally sell me a car for $100, you can't come back at me and say, I owe you another $35,000. That's your mistake. You know, I'm sorry, that's just how it works. And he just kept saying over and over, common areas only. That's my private space. That's my private space. Okay, fine. So I went upstairs. I packed up my rig. I packed up everything, actually. I got ready to physically be ready to leave because I wasn't sure how everything was going to work out. And I called Airbnb customer service. I spoke to a nice person, laid it all out for him, and he's like, hang on, let me call the host. And he called me back a few minutes later and said, I just spoke to the host, and he's willing to let you use the loft because that was the deal. And I was like, yeah, no ish, that was the deal. Thanks, buddy. Right there. See if it's going to give it to us. So, bottom line, it was eventful. Are we rolling again? Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Okay. And because we had 2 half tanks of slurry, you know what I mean? We filled up our tanker. We drained 1 full load into there. Then we pulled another half a load out to put in there. Then we just took another half a load out to top this off, which means theoretically there's 1 full load left in there. Beautiful. Let's go get into our 900. We'll take that to a new field, and we're just going to park it there and call it an episode. So it all worked out, but people, man. And I texted my girl, and because I'm supposed to be here till the end of the month, I texted my girl and I was like, hey, I think I'm moving out tonight. And she's like, what did you do? How does this happen to you? What did you do? And I was like, I didn't do anything. And I laid it out for her, and she's like, yeah, I could see that. But it is funny to interact with people that way. Is he, okay, let's move this thing. I gotta put the hose back on. It is interesting to interact with people that way and realize, like, oh dear, and realize, like, what is okay with people and what is not okay with people. I worked at a print shop years ago, and I saw 2 guys get in a fist fight on the press floor. Oh, it was already running. Okay. Saw 2 guys get in a fist fight on the press floor. 2 big guys, like kind of guys that work in a bindery. And they both got sent home. And then the next day they were both back at work, like no problem. And in the meantime, I have seen people fired for nothing, you know. It's crazy, like what is okay and what is not okay. And I think a lot of it comes down to what people are familiar with, you know, like what 2 guys getting in a fight at work. I guess that's kind of a, you know, whatever. That's just something that happens. But then something else is, you know, it ends up in the employee manual, like it's the worst thing ever, even though it's really not that big a deal. It's just uncommon, or maybe it's something that people aren't familiar with or whatever. But people, man, they fascinate me. They fascinate me. Where's my guy? Yeah, there it is. And we're going to take this over to another field. Oh, and something else I wanted to show you. We bought fields, I want to say we owned like field 9 or field 12 on the west side of the road. And we bought field 8 and field, I don't know. We bought 2 fields to make 3 on the west side of the road. Then I also bought field 11, and then we also bought field 17. So if you look at field 3, in V1 of this map, we did not own that. We own that now, and that field is like, field 3 is as big as all of our other fields that we own combined, just about. And the fields that we already own are big. So we have got some work to do with this small equipment. Nope. Fell out of the tractor. We got some work to do, and I am looking forward to it. This is going to be a fun map, and it's going to be a fun way to finish out FS17. Sorry, multitasking. So let's do this last little bit right here, and then I'm going to take this around. I guess I'll take it around to field 11 on the other side of the highway. I really can't see very well. I don't know how well you can see with the rain, but I really am struggling to see right now. That's okay. All part of the immersion. So we're making our turn here around the hedge. Don't hit the pole. Perfect. And up we go. Now, normally I would do 2 farm sim videos, 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Thursday. This is going to be it for this week. The only other map we have going is Lone Oak, and we're sort of in between. We got everything planted, and I think the next thing we do on Lone Oak is going to be some grass work. and I just wasn't feeling it today. I was feeling this map, but that's all I was feeling, if that makes sense. Let's set the brake. I already got the beacons on. Let's set the brake and find a gate to get in here. How do we get into field 11? I just saw a gate, but I don't think we can get through there. Oh, walking. It's so relaxing. Just walking. We're just walking. So yeah, I'm just going to do one farm sim vid today, and you know, I'm letting the channel continue to find its own direction. So, you know, as far as we can't keep walking because then we're going to have to walk all the way back. We'll drive around the field if we have to, but I don't want to walk to like the other side of creation, find the gate, and then have to walk back to the tractor to drive it up there anyway. I'll just let the channel find its own way. And something that I've read a lot of YouTubers say is don't get so caught up in I'm not chasing subscribers, but obviously I want the channel to grow. And what happens is you do something and then you get like some subscribers, and there's part of you, or at least I'll just speak for myself, there's a part of me that's like, okay, whatever I did most recently, that worked, you know, so let's keep doing that. And the problem with that is, first off, it's not always correct because it could be something completely unrelated, you know. But I've been doing 2 farm videos on Tuesday and 2 farm videos on Thursday, and the channel's been growing. So I guess a part of me was like, oh, you know, don't ever stop doing that. And that may not be how it works. So let's take a look down here. Do we own? We don't own field 14. Well, now I'm like, I don't want to say obsessed, but I'm like, I want to get into field 11, man. I don't think we're going to make this turn. Nope. So what I've been reading is people saying, you know, you will start to burn out because you, particularly when you're just starting out, you're so like motivated to grow your channel that you get really worried about, you know, what happens if I don't post a video today? What happens if I, you know, and nothing happens. You know, it's not like, you know, the channel was poised to grow to 1,000 subscribers, but if I don't do a Lone Oak video today, that's it. We're done. You know, it's not like I'm going to lose any subs. I hope I don't. That would suck. But you know what I mean. It's easy to push too hard and lose sight of the fact that, you know, I mean, I've got, I think, over 300 videos now, and I have enjoyed making just about every single one of them. And I want to keep it that way, I guess, is what I'm saying. So when I'm not feeling it, oh, really? Oh. I'm not saying I drove right past it. I'm going to go ahead and back in there. I think that's going to be easier. So yeah, I'm getting more comfortable saying, like, if I'm not feeling it, then I'm not feeling it, and it's not going to kill me, and it's not going to hurt the channel to not record when I'm just not in the mood to record. There's a little track. I think we can park this right up here. Beautiful. Set the brake, put her in gear. I'm going to leave the lights on for a second. I'm going to come out here, and oh yeah, it's beautiful. That's beautiful. Do a little screenshotty McShotterson. Beautiful. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 2017 from Thornbrook Farm. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.